We're recording. I have notes. I almost don't need my notes at this point because this is it. This is the end, my friends, as Jim Morrison once upon a time said. This is Wanderers of Erewan Volume 1, The Grimstone Way, Episode 12, what will entirely be the end of this campaign. I don't see this going past this session. I am joined, of course, by my preferred Wanderers, Kami Shinigami, Darius, Lucian, various other names, maybe, as Malthanric, Alturios as Svaldi, me, of course, Omar Krieg, as your ever-present and easily amused and or annoyed. Wow, like a solid 50-50 on which one it might be, by the way. GM or Gamemaster. We previously fought through a bunch of crazy gore, ungore, Bray Shaman, a Minotaur. Brick killed a Minotaur. That's not entirely how that went. It was really bad paraphrasing from a silly movie. It was actually Brick killed a man, but that's not important right now. And there was a Minotaur in the second movie. Oh. That said, we are already being hounded by people in the audience. By we, I mean entirely me. Hello, Rev. I meant to get my phone set up here. So this. No, stop. God, why? Now to ask me if I'm enjoying Twitch? Shut up, stupid man. Alright. Previously, we fought a bunch of stuff. We made it through the fights. We drank some potion that simultaneously made us feel better internally, physically, and also tasted like absolute trash. Because somebody had previously had something of a miscast that spoiled all the alcohol nearby. And probably soured some milk. That's not important. After the last round of fighting below in the keeps, or excuse me, in the depths of the Dwarven Hold, Malthanric, magically attuned to the magics of the world, that's really bad phrasing, but we all know what I'm trying to say, noticed that the magic was being pulled from everybody around, whether living or dead, and it was all leading up into the Thane's Hall. Finally making our way back up out of the catacombs, because I wanted to use a dramatic word, we find Thossamergalad, let's just say the arch nemesis of this entire endeavor, leader of the Horde of Gore, in the Thane's Hall, casting some sort of spell and using the energies that he is drawing from the dead and dying all around, whether they be dwarf, whether they be beastman, whatever their race might be. He is drawing on that energy. He's using the Grimstone all around in order to power this magic. He's trying to do something. He's wearing some fearsome armor. There is a fear penalty in place that you need to overcome with, let me refer to my notes because I want to make sure I got this right, but I'm pretty sure you need to do a cool test in order to do anything directly against Thossa at this point in time. Let's see. As players approach, he will have already used his Purple Pall of Sheesh spell with a 59. So basically I rolled a 59 versus a 94, his target number, giving him +4 armor and what should have been Fear 3, which changes the numbers you would be rolling, but I didn't explain that adequately enough previously, so you are going to have a -1 SL to all tests to affect the source of the fear. Let's see. Let me get to where I need to be here. So you are required to pass an extended cool test to overcome your fear. You may continue to test at the end of every round until your success level equals or surpasses the creature's fear rating. So you have to make 3 degrees of success on this fear test. You'll have multiple attempts at the end of each round, but until you do so, you are subject to fear, meaning you have a -1 SL. Or effectively, I mean, it's not exactly a -10 to your test rolls, but you will lose 1 success level on every test you make if any action that you are attempting to direct at your opponent. There's some other stuff too, like if you try to get closer to him, things can happen. Let's see. Uh, let's see. You may not move closer to whatever is causing the fear, which is obviously Thassa, without passing a challenging cool test. If the source of the fear comes closer to you, you must pass a challenging cool test or become broken. Now, you'll still have your hit points or wounds or whatever, but as a condition, of course, you have the broken, which gives a further -10 to all tests, and you have to make every effort to get away from the enemy. Now, fortunately for you, as you have observed so far, he's not really moving around a whole lot. He's just standing here on top of the table, casting his crazy magic spell. On that note, let me go ahead and switch this. Oops, wrong one. Let me switch this over to people so they can see what's going on the board. We have some initiative up here. Thassa is going to be acting first, and then, of course, our normal initiative order. So, a couple things to point out. He is casting. He has 0 advantage, as do you guys. You are in your current positions as indicated on the table. These purple dice over here. So, this is the big payout right here. He needs to acquire a total of 35 successes, or degrees of success, success levels, whatever you want to call it, in order to enact his magic. You don't know this in character, but as players, he needs to accumulate a total of 35 successes. I'm going to double check that number really quick because I might be slightly off. Nope, I need a total of 35. Every round until he makes that total, he will be doing his casting. Malthanric, you can safely assume that he is already connected to the magic. He doesn't need to make that reach out and touch somebody roll. He's already got the power and the gates open. He's just trying to channel a certain amount of magic before you can cast the spell. Let's see.
Okay. Shouldn't we have it one advantage since we outnumber him?
You know what? I'll give you that one. So you can have... Oh, god damn it. What did I just do? Thank you. I had the wrong window active before I slapped the number 1 button. Typed 1 at some random location of my notes. It's always fun to figure out where that is. But yeah, you do outnumber him. You do note, of course, around this room are just an absurd number of dead and or dying gore and dwarves. It looks like some heavy fighting was taking place here before Thassa just basically walked in and said, I'm in charge. Look at me. I'm the Thane now. Actually, that's not what he said. He said some other stuff. It was mostly magic related. At any rate, what I was trying to point out, if these numbers here make it to 35, you can effectively consider that game over. Of course, if you kill the magic user, if you geek the mage, also game over. Because again, this is it, the big final fight. With that in mind, any questions before I make Thassa's first not attack, but first action?
You said we have to make cool tests in order to not be afraid?
Correct. You will need to have at least 3 levels of success. Whatever I keep calling, yeah, it's 3 success levels because that's the fear rating. You have to have at least 3 success on your challenging cool. You have a -10, or excuse me, you have a -1 SL every time you make that roll until you achieve that. So basically, at this moment, you need effectively 4 success degrees. Whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. 4 degrees.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. Using the Rogue Trader verbology, it would be 4 degrees of success at this point. The difference, of course, is you make a test now, you get less than that, you make another test the next round, and you combine the total achieved. Just like when Malthanric is trying to do his channeling. Rev over here trying to be funny. Any other questions, issues, concerns before we resume the battle? I'm going to go with no, because I'm not hearing anything. And with that in mind, Thassa will be making his first action. Pretty sure I know what it is, but I always want to verify. Just screw it up. Let's see. So yeah, he is channeling a particular skill. His target number is a 94. And he gets... Let me double check this. Against a 94. That is 4 degrees. So that's going to give him 8 levels of success so far. Now, you might be wondering, if I had 4 levels of success, how is that 8 successes on the dice? The Grimstone doubles the number of successes you accumulate when you make your tests. This is part of the reason why the Grimstone has been so deceptively alluring for people like Malthanric. That said, Malthanric, you're up.
Well, I think I'm going to start us off with the dark.
Okay, I need that cool challenging test first.
Okay.
What is your cool is probably kind of high because you are a wizard. A wizard. That oof. What was your target number?
66.
You have 1 fortune. Would you like to use it now?
On a cool test? No.
I hear where you're going with that. Like any other time, you're like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just deal with it. You are attempting to overcome the effects of this fear. Re-rolling now so that you will be otherwise free to act as you wish is not a bad use of that fortune. However, it's your fortune. You may use it or not use it at your discretion.
No, I'm not using it.
Okay, fair enough. Svaldi, you're up.
Yay.
What would you like to do, and what is your challenging cool number to actually do anything other than move generally away from this guy?
38. Let's pop that so we know what it is.
That is 2 success levels right there. It would have been 3,
Yeah.
but it's a -1.
Can you pop a die down just so I don't have to?
Yeah. And we'll even be cool for you and change it to your particular color. 2. Let's rename it. Call this Alturios Die of Not Bad.
Yeah.
Let's make it slightly larger so it actually kind of stands out a bit, and we'll just set it off. Okay.
All right.
Now that more or less does count as your action. You can move, but if you attempt to move closer, of course, you literally can't yet. Actually, you are somewhat limited at the moment in your options. This is part of the reason why he did this. Is there any movement or any other things you would like to attempt to do, other than the fact that your main action has been
Is double flipping him off a free action?
What a great question. Yes, why not?
Okay. I'll give him the twin birds.
You give him the twin birds. He ignores
Yeah.
you. He's fully focused
Okay.
on what he's trying to do. Balfric has to do a similar test. Let's see what his numbers are.
Dwarves are particularly good at cool, if I remember correctly.
He's actually Balfric's got a really. Oh, that's not Balfric. That's Thassa. Let's see. He's got a 58. Let's see what he gets. That is not enough.
Nice.
Oh wow, yes, I did roll a really nice number. Unfortunately, it was not nice enough. So that's Balfric, and we're back to Thassa, who of course is just going to continue his devilish chanting.
Wololo.
Okay, so that's 8, 16, 24. That is a lot of successes. Our word scrunch. Yes, I suppose that's an option. All right. Malthanric, you're up.
Cool test.
All right, you said you had like a 60 something, I think.
Yep,
So
66.
all right, so in the next round, you are free to act as normal. In this round, you may move closer if you like.
Why can't I act as normal this round?
You know what? Yeah, you can act as normal this round. Disregard previous ridiculous comments that may or may not have come out of my mouth. You may act as normal.
Okay.
Dart, I believe, was on the table previously.
Yeah, but he's getting those successes fast.
Yep. Well, it's that Grimstone, baby. I mean, if you wanna tap into that high speed that wow, Jesus Christ, I cannot. You want to ride the white lightning and get that magic power flowing? You absolutely can too. It's calling for you. Malthanric, use me. Crush your enemies.
I'm just imagining the theme of the One Ring playing.
Oh, oh, I wish I could like pick up exactly what you're like. I feel like I'm in the ballpark, but I'm missing a key note. Oh wait, no, because that was the thing about the One Ring. It was always subtly beguiling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Anyways, Malthanric, what are we doing?
If I were to get all the successes that I needed for a Choking Shadows,
Mm-hmm.
I still wouldn't be able to cast it until next turn, right?
Correct. You would complete the spell at this round, but it would start taking effect next round.
That's what I thought.
I mean, it's still a valid thing because, like, even if he gets on the next roll, he gets all the successes. Like, in a similar vein, like once whatever round he gets all the successes, he still the whatever this effect that he's casting does not begin until the subsequent round.
And if
Include
he's
like
too busy choking, he can't. He
yeah,
can't
like
cast.
you might theoretically be able to stall him out. I'm not 100% sure if that's how that would work like that, but
Yeah, unless you get another nice roll like you got last time.
let's be honest, I don't think I would. But I mean, 24. I need like basically 6 degrees of success doubled to get to 35. So
Yeah.
it's possible. I mean, he has a very high target number because he's been a wizard for a very long fucking time. Now, there is, if you recall, mechanically speaking, if you cause damage, it forces another cool test, which, if the cool test fails, then the accumulated successes are lost. And it's the successes accumulated in the last roll, which was 16. So, in theory, if you do damage and he fails that cool test, it goes back down to 8 successes instead of 24.
All right. I'll dart.
Dart is an option.
I'm also going to move up closer.
Okay, yeah, because doesn't Dart have a limited range? Or am I thinking of something else?
Uh, yes and
It's definitely
no,
unlimited.
Yeah, it's definitely not unlimited, that's for sure. Dart is petty.
I mean it's
Dart.
willpower and yards,
Willpower yards. So you've oh yeah, you don't have that you don't have to move you shouldn't have to move far. Because your willpower is like 50 something or 60 something, isn't it?
but Choking Shadows is only 5 yards.
Ah, yes. Yes, I see. I see. You would have to get pretty damn close to it.
So how fast do I move?
You should have like a series of 3 numbers. You can move the first 2 without losing action.
There it is.
Probably something like 4, 8, 12, or something like that.
5, 10, 20.
Yeah, there you go. So you can move up to 10 without losing actions.
Okay. And I will dart him from here.
Okay. You do not have to make a reach out and touch somebody. There is so much magical power flowing all around you right now. It is an
Okay.
absurd amount of energy, in fact. It's
And I don't have to accumulate successes for dart.
nope. It's just a cast. It's speak language.
Okay.
You have no negatives. You do have a +10 from your advantage, though.
So 90.
Damn. Okay. Oh my god. That is 9 degrees of success.
Yep.
Okay. Before we crunch numbers for damage, let me see what his cool number is. All right. You barely succeeded. So, you will damage him, but it will not be enough to stop what he's doing, which is unfortunate. Now, that said, if he's dead, that's a different animal altogether. So let's see how much damage you do with that dart. You had 9 degrees. Magic missile. I forget how magic missile damage is calculated, and I have to look at 2 different things. All right, magic missiles do success level plus willpower bonus +0. So your willpower bonus is 5, right?
Yep.
So that's 14 damage. Reduced by toughness and armor. Let me double check. Dart, toughness and armor. So 14 minus. Has armor something. Okay. Alright. I want to make sure I get the right numbers. Give me just a moment. Sorry. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to roll the. Oh. Yeah, I was right. It is a total of 7 armor. Okay. So you did 14 damage, which means he takes 7 wounds. I did not include his toughness bonus. That has been reduced. The amount of damage has been applied, and he has a number of wounds equal to that. But that was good. That was a good hit. Dart, your shadowy dart. It is shadow that you're. What's your magic again? Shadow, right?
Yeah.
Lower shadows. Yeah, your little black dart zips out. It almost as quickly as it zips away from you, it disappears because of all the magical energies that you are privy to. But you see that something does hit him mid his casting actions, like his arms moving around and the words coming out of his mouth. Uh, he stumbles for a brief second, but almost immediately resumes his casting. Svaldi, you are up, sir. I need a challenging cool test, -1 success. That looks like a ridiculously. You're free to act however you wish at this point, sir. What would you like to do? You have a bow, you have an axe, you have Gimli glowing sun. Really bad joke. I apologize.
I was gonna say, can I throw the dwarf?
Don't toss the dwarf.
That's my action.
Still counts as one.
I'm supposed to throw the dwarf.
That
I'm the elf.
a 71 for bow.
71 bow. Does that include the +10 from?
Yeah,
okay.
it does.
So 4 levels of success. What's your bow's base damage?
That is success. Yeah, strength bonus +3. Blurk. Plus successes. So 4, 7, and strength bonus is 4. 11?
11 damage?
Yeah.
Okay. That will get reduced by because of armor and toughness. But he does have to make a cool check. Took damage. And he passes. Svaldi. He has had no successes so far. He needs to roll against... Let's see, what does it say? That's Svaldi. I meant Balfric. I apologize. I called the wrong name. So he's rolling against a 58 with a -1 success. Ugh. He remains a cowering piece of shit.
Someone get this beer or this dwarf a beer.
What'd you say?
Someone get this dwarf a beer or something. Jesus
Really,
Christ.
he does need a calming beer, doesn't he? It's so weird to think of beer as a
Except
calming...
they've all been spoiled.
They
so
all...
it's like,
No, only the
they've
ones
got-
within like 100 yards or 100 feet or whatever of Malthanric when he had that miscast. Alright. Thassa is rolling his channeling spell again. That is a total of 6 degrees of success. It's going to take him up to 10. So he's only got a little...
3 times 2 is 6.
Yeah,
Okay.
3. It was 3 on the dice and then doubled because of the Grimstone in his hand. That I do need another die though. Just in case somebody changes the... In case he takes a hit. That's the so the little black dice is the number that it recently went up by, in case something happens. Malthanric, we're back up to you.
Okay, and I'm still free to act, right?
Correct, you are. It does. The fear has been broken. He just has wondrous armor. You're running, just for the record, you're running alongside along the tops of tables. Now, if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that.
I've got to run along the tops of tables to get to them.
I mean, he is standing on top of a table with magical power just literally whirlpooling all around him. Technically, he has a 1 degree of advantage right
No, Darius, don't table dance.
now.
What did he get advantage from?
He successfully casting his spell thingy. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. I've been wrong
He
before.
didn't do any damage.
No, let me double check what the rules say for advantage and gaining it. Thought there was one for skill success. Surprise, charging, assess.
There's one
if
for
you use
opposed skill success.
if you use one of your skills to secure a tactical advantage. No, winning.
I mean,
no.
technically,
I mean, yes, but the tactical advantage it's not exactly a tactical advantage because he is getting closer to his goal, but you guys don't know exactly what that is.
okay.
So he doesn't actually get advantage. I do apologize for that. You are right, Dark.
I would have
And
agreed to let
I'm
you have it
going
if it didn't count
to
towards
dark
his
again, I
doubling.
That was two voices
Yeah.
at once. I can only listen to one at a time. I heard Dart and I heard something else from Alturios about advantage.
I was gonna say I think it would have been okay if you didn't count that advantage towards his doubled successes.
Well, I mean, if he had made a skill test to increase, like, say for instance, if this was a team fight, like his team against your team, and his success had given his team some sort of bonus against you guys, that would have counted as advantage. But it's literally him trying to do a spell to achieve his ends. I don't feel like that's enough of an advantage over you guys. You guys are getting advantages, absolutely, because you're doing damage and everything else. And you are obviously working actively against whatever the hell he's trying to do.
Okay, so I don't need to do channeling, I just need to do language.
Correct. Which I believe you had a 90 last time. Now it's 100, I think.
Yep.
Okay. Thank God for
And
armor.
I'm going to tap into the Greystone.
Oh, shit, son. Oh, shit. Okay, let me make a note of that. Darius is going to have extra corruption tests. All right, go ahead. So that's a total of 10 levels of success. plus your willpower bonus is 15 damage if my math is running right.
Yep.
Okay, so he's going to
So that
take...
should be 5 damage.
Yep. Which is a lot. He's not looking good. He does have to make a cool test. Once again, just barely passing. Wow, yeah, that's going to leave a mark for him.
Don't forget to change your advantage to 3 there, Darius.
I don't know why you did it in a different voice. That just seems so fitting. I'm just picturing this little fairy flitting around the battlefield calling out useful hints, and that was the fairy right there. Don't forget to update your advantage.
I stole it from Critical Role because they're whenever they do OOC things, they would speak like pigeons, and that was the voice they used.
Oh my god, that's funny. That's actually pretty funny. It is your
they're
turn, by the way, Svaldi, and you are free to act as you wish.
I will shoot him again.
Shoot him again. Okay, you were shooting against a 70 last time, I think it was?
Yeah.
Which means now you're at an 80? Or 81, or whatever the number was exactly. That is an impressive amount of arrow damage right there. So that's 7 levels of success. Plus
14?
the base damage, so that's 14. Okay, we'll get to what that means in just a moment. First, we need to roll a cool test. He passes. Now, before we go any further, we need to find something. What kind of damage does the bow do? Actually, hold that thought. You rolled a 14 on your attack roll, which means you hit body location 41. What is
right arm?
Is it the right arm?
25 through 44 is right arm. Yes.
Oh yes. We have to flip the number around, so it's actually a 41. And 25 to 44 or something like that. You said is the arm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did I roll right by the arm? Yeah. Go ahead and make me a straight up 1d100 roll, please. $79. Dislocated shoulder.
Oh, he's burning fate points.
Yeah, oh man, I cannot spell or type. Dislocated shoulder. Alright, what does that do? What is this extra bit right? Hold on one second. Let me read this really quick.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. When you receive a critical wound by losing more wounds than you have, roll 1d100 and refer to the appropriate table to determine what has happened. When you receive a critical hit, you do not determine the struck location by reversing your roll as no. Oh, okay. Hold on. All right, hold on. We're gonna redo that. So make me a 1d100 roll, and we're gonna see what that. Give me just a quick second, or you already rolled.
Oh.
No, you're good. 55. We'll use that number. 55 is body. So now make another... Oh, hold on. Then roll another 1d100 and refer to the appropriate table to determine what has happened. You suffer the number of wounds indicated, not modified by toughness, bonus, or armor, though these will never trigger a second critical wound. Further, you suffer any additional effects noted. Well, he's already lost all his wounds, so adding more wounds to that. No, wait, that's a thing, because if you take more wounds than, like, double what you have, is that right? Or am I thinking of D&D?
I'm thinking of D&D.
Yeah, that might be.
Because I think there was a bleeding thing, but that's only if, like, you get a certain thing on the...
Yeah, okay.
On the table.
All right, now, since we are on the body table, I need another 1d100 roll. See what the effect is. 95? Holy shit,
yeah.
That might be really good for you. Broken collarbone. Gain the unconscious condition until you receive medical attention and suffer a broken bone major injury. Holy fuck. I don't even know exactly how that happened. I think the arrow just pierces like just beneath the collarbone and then like rips that bone, like just rips right through the bone somehow.
Ooh.
So let me write this down. Broken collarbone, unconscious. That's not how you spell it. Until receives medical care. And broken bone major injury. Most importantly, though, I want to key in on one I want to key in on one very important word there. And if you mouse over Thassa, you'll see what it is. He is unconscious. Your arrow knocks him back several feet. A little bit of stumbling as he passes out. He has fallen. Now, unfortunately, we are going to change that just a tiny bit. First, let me refer to my character sheet for him. Then seeing what fortune does. Then seeing what fate does.
I know one of those
Yeah.
funny point systems lets you get back up.
Yeah. That hit entirely misses, by the way. So,
Okay.
that's what would have happened if he hadn't spent a fate point. What instead happens is nothing.
Okay.
And yes, that's a little cheaty, but I feel like for this big fight, I think it's okay. And you also have some of those same options. So he spends a fortune, or fate rather, using the how did that miss? And as it says in the book, your character completely avoids the incoming damage by some extraordinary fluke, such as slipping just. So what happens is the arrow looks like it's about to penetrate somewhere between the shoulder and the neck, where the neck joins the torso, and he, in the process of casting his spell, has a weird arm rotation thing that just happens to dip that part of the skin away, and your arrow just goes sailing right on by. It was a
What a
well-placed
dick.
shot. We had a brief moment of what that might have looked like, but I remembered he gets to use fortune points. It's probably the last time I get away with being a douchebag GM, though. All right. Once again, I am calling upon Beofric and his cool to pass a cool test at challenging. So let's see, 59. Jesus Christ. Every time I've missed it by 10 or less for him. So he remains frozen in place.
He is the party NPC who just
Yeah, he's the
chokes at the final boss.
So just a quick note. When I saw that Darius was like good for tonight, it was roughly his comment came in at like 5:55, right? At like 6:03 was when I saw it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll figure out what I'm gonna do for the next 45 minutes or whatever. And so I ate dinner and I had like 20 minutes to kill. I played a round of BattleTech on our Mega Mech, just like totally random. I was like, you know what? It's been a while since I dabbled with Mega Mech. I had a Hunchback with an AC-20, of course.
Mhm.
Ask me how many rounds I fired and how many actually hit. That's Balfric right now. Balfric is the AC-20 gun that never misses, or never hits, rather. He is the Hetzer wheeled assault gun that always misses. It's perfect, because the Hetzer is so short and squat compared to a battle mech.
I was gonna say, I know it in universe it's a tactic just to drive into the mech's leg and then fire just to keep yourself from missing.
Yeah, just to get as close as you possibly. The problem is the Hetzer only has a 4/6 movement. Anyway, so yeah, Balfric is shit out of luck. I'm now rolling my 94.
Which is why you should be cool and get one of the Saladins.
Oh, so they can zip along instead of just mucking by. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
1 degree of success. So that's a total of 2 because of the Grimstone. That was an abysmal roll right there. I think that was the dice gods looking at me going, you fucked your players, I'm going to fuck you. Malthanric, you're up. I assume Dart. Perhaps it's going to be Choking Shadow. Is he muted?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna do choking shadows this time.
Okay. If I recall, you need 6 successes to get that through.
Yes.
Yep. Casting number is 6. Okay. You do have +3, or excuse me, +30 on this roll. Also, the Grimstone would love it if you would use it in your anger.
But I'm not angry.
That's fine. You don't need to be angry to use the Grimstone.
Strike him down with all your hatred, and their journey to the dark side will be complete.
Yes, there you go. Perfect. Are you using the Grimstone, or are you going to ignore its solid siren call?
I am going to ignore it.
Okay. What are you rolling against? 100? Or 110?
110.
110. Okay. Obviously, 96 plus is a miss. As you move closer, the swirling energies is electrifying in a very real sense. In fact, before you commit to that move, I'm going to give you a bit of a warning. Whatever Thassa is doing, you are standing in the area that thing may come into being. That might be slightly
Just
better.
do a lateral shift here real quick.
That might be slightly better. Could you imagine summoning a Balrog and then just getting squished because you got too close? That
Look at
was
that.
8, 9, more than enough. And the next round, your choking shadows will take place. With that in mind, it is now on Svaldi with his magical arrows of absolute desperation.
Look, this time I'm gonna aim a little lower.
You should have gone for the head.
The
Sorry.
archer's version of magic word scrunch.
Yeah, magic power word scrunch. All right,
91.
91. Is that what you're looking for?
Oh my god.
That is an impressive amount of damage. So that's 9 levels of success plus the arrow or the bow's strength bonus plus something or other.
So it's 9 plus 7, 16.
16. Okay. Let's see what fortune awaits for me this time. No, one of them. I'm not gonna do the exact same one again. That seems really seems redundant. With you. No, I feel like that one was even more chewy. Nope. He's gonna take the hit. What was the damage total again?
Oh crap. So
It's 16, I
success
think,
was
right?
9 and yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a 1d100 roll for hit location. 75. That is body. Give me another 1d100 for the actual critical effect. 31. Winded. Gains the stunned condition. Let's see. Gain a stunned condition, make an average plus 20 endurance test, or gain prone condition. Alright. See what his stats are for endurance. Okay. He is prone. You knock him down. And he's winded. Let's see what that winded condition means. Poison. Oh no. Nope, just stunned. Okay, stunned. Incapable of taking action on your turn, but are capable of half normal movement. You can defend yourself in opposed tests, but not with language magic. You suffer a -10 penalty to all tests. If you have any stun conditions, any opponent trying to strike you in melee combat gains +1 advantage before rolling the attack. At the end of each round, you may attempt a challenging endurance test to remove the stun condition. So, once all stun conditions are... Okay, wow, he's pretty well fucked for the time being. That was a good
How much
hit.
of this does he lose?
I'm sorry?
How much of
Oh, I
his-
didn't roll cool, did I? What was my cool? With the stunned effect is a -10. So I needed, let me double check the numbers. That was a 67, and I needed a 69. Nice. So yeah, he holds it, but he is definitely, he looks like he has had, what's the word I want to use here? He looks like he may have had an epiphany after all of this effort that he's put forth. Beofric, my guy, please. Oh, sorry, Svaldi, was there anything else you wanted to attempt to do there?
No, I'm very comfy in my little hidey spot.
Okay. Beofric needs to make that cool 58. Finally! Holy shit.
Wow.
You know what? This whole time I forgot to been rolling with advantage, so theoretically he could have actually been active to act like since round 1. Motherfucker. God damn it. I feel so fucking dumb for not catching that advantage that he had. He can move up 8 inches. He has a crossbow. And if I recall, because my Adobe last week took shit up. No, it's actually there this time. Crossbow, 60 yards. We have... Oh, wow. Just under half. What does that give me? Where's the range? Where's the combat modifier table? Is it? It's movement table. Oh, that's right. Oh, wait, hold on. Shooting at point blank is a +40. Shooting at short range, which is less than half, is a +20.
Wow.
Okay, so his crossbow skill is a 50. That makes it a 70 to hit. That is 2 levels of success. What is the damage on the crossbow? Success level is 2 + 9. That's 11 damage. I also now get to roll on the critical hits thing. So let me get to first the page for it. So the crossbow bolt hits him in the... What is that? 96. Right leg. 174. Head, arm, body, leg. Oh. I'm pretty sure 97 would have been so much better than a 57 in the leg. But we hit the 57, which gives him now a badly twisted knee and a torn muscle major injury.
He took a bolt to the knee.
He really did. Alright, badly twisted knee. See, that gives him the torn muscle major injury. That probably won't make much difference in the long run here because he can't do anything. Alright, let me go back to what it was saying about broken.
Did you make a cool check?
Oh, son of a bitch. I had a -10, mind you. Success. Okay. Now, his... Not broken, he's stunned. Going too far back. Conditions are... I really enjoyed the layout of this book, but the fact that I have to go back and forth between several major sections of the book for this fight is moderately annoying. Mounted combat, moving, leaping and falling. Conditions, here we go. Stunned. Alright. He cannot take any action on his turn, but he is capable of half movement and is able to defend himself without using magic, but at a -10. He's just going to make his challenging endurance test to remove the stun condition and become fatigued. So his endurance is Not good. Fuck me. And he does not make it. Malthanric, it's your turn.
Language check.
No. You don't need a language check, I think. Your choking magic, or whatever the fuck it is, has taken effect. Yeah, in this round, as the round begins, you wrap shadowy tendrils of Ulbu around your foe's neck. Assuming they need to breathe, they gain +1 fatigue, cannot talk, and are subject to rules for suffocation. So,
Okay.
let me update his little tracker a bit here. He is now prone, stunned, prone, and suffocating, probably. Poor dumb bastard, man.
Worst day ever.
Yeah. Imagine getting so close to your ultimate goal, and he was super fucking close to his ultimate goal, and then just 3 assholes come out of the basement and just fuck your day. That's exactly what his life has been like right now. So +1 fatigue. Right off the bat. And he's suffocating. So 181 for rules on suffocation. I'm not seeing suffocation on page 181. Oh, drowning and suffocation. Here we go. He is not prepared, so if you are okay. Page 181, drowning and suffocation. If prepared, you can hold your breath for toughness bonus times 10 seconds without a test. After that, you may start to suffocate or drown. If you are unprepared and suddenly deprived of air, which he is, you will start to suffocate immediately. Each round you are being suffocated, you lose 1 wound. Should you reach 0 wounds, you immediately receive the unconscious condition. After that, you will die of suffocation or drowning in toughness bonus rounds. Okay, well, that's not good for my guy. So I'm going to do this. Set this over here. We're going to also give him the unconscious number, and we're going to set this back to... for you, Malthanric, as you decide what you want to do this round, as you watched your inky black tendrils of shadow interlock around Thassa's throat, and you see his skin, the skin of his face starting to turn red. A really dark, disturbing shade, I might point out. And he suddenly drops unconscious. You feel all of that magical energy that has been coalescing and swirling and dancing all around you. Within seconds, it starts to fade away. It's still there and very much easily accessed for the next few rounds, probably. But you can see that whatever peak it was at, that peak has come and gone. What would you like to do, sir?
Is there such thing as coup de grace in this?
Absolutely. If you want to just jab him in the eyeball, there's nothing stopping you. He's unconscious.
I'm
He
going
cannot
to walk
resist.
up and take my dagger and stab him in the eye.
There you go. He is now dead. And I'm just going to remove all of his things except for that one. Congratulations.
Guys, we did the DPS race.
Congratulations, you beat the big bad of the game, of the campaign. That was it right there. Let me refer to my notes. We're going to go into narration mode, or narrative mode, rather. Let's see. The fighting comes to a pass. It
And
ends...
I'm going to loot the body.
Oh, well, we'll get into all that in just a moment. Give me a moment here. Well, actually, as far as his loot is concerned, let's see what my character sheet says for equipment. He has the typical things. He has an undefined magic item. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know what his undefined magic item is. I literally wrote undefined magic item, and then I never expanded on it. So that'll be an interesting cliffhanger thing for whenever this story may resume at some point in the future.
Ariska Chachki.
He does have a magical license. He has a quarterstaff, a grimoire, writing kit, and all of that stuff. And you do note in his... I imagine at some point over the next day or 2 or 3, as things slowly begin to resume normalcy, you note that in his logs, entries, journals, etc., that there is mention of a man named Morden Gaul as his apprentice.
Hmm.
So there's another trailing tidbit. Jesus H. Christ, I cannot speak. Another
Tidbit.
trailing tidbit. An undefined magic item and a man named Morden Gaul. That said, as the energies fade away around you and things return to, in a magical sense at least, normal, people begin to stir. Not all of these dwarves are dead. Many of them that are still alive, the few that, rephrase that, many of them are dead, a few survive, and those that do are taking their time getting up to their feet as though their very life forces have been drained and pulled away from them. The Thane has survived, albeit severely injured and quite drained. He will heal in time, and of course the city will recover and clean up, and restoration will begin in a few days once the dead are attended to. You guys have a couple of days. Narratively speaking, what would you like to do in that time? Or you are formally recognized by the Thane, the rest of his family, and the dwarves in general for your efforts here.
Go clean all this blood off me.
You took a couple of
Yeah.
hits too, didn't you?
Yeah, he almost died a couple
Yes,
times.
I did.
How did the city seem to fare in total? Like,
It's bad. I will say this for you, because you come from Neorn, where there has been almost generational fighting against the Thys, right? Or Thysians, or whatever the fuck I called that empire over there. I can't remember off the top of my head. You're not unfamiliar to the scenes of a battlefield. Cities being laid siege, cities in which have been assaulted by an enemy force. You've seen plenty of this in your limited travels. It's not good. But you do know the dwarves are a hardy and resilient people. And that Clan Tharfark is almost undoubtedly going to bounce back. And even that, it becomes evident within the first several hours after the closing of the fight, is that even though people, like, just the fact that bodies are being recovered almost immediately, dead bodies that is, there's almost like, not necessarily grave diggers, but something similar to that go along and collect up the dead bodies, dwarf and beastmen alike. Nobody touches Thassa's body, but it is disgusting. There's an unholiness to it almost. But the rest of the dead bodies are recovered, and eventually cleaned up and interred, or in the case of the beastmen, they're heaped into a massive pile outside on the surface at night, as a sign to any others that might be, any survivors that might be nearby, thinking they could try again. As a community, the damages to the halls and the tunnels and jobs and everything else, relatively superficial, but the signs are there that damages were rendered, but that there's also being cleaned up. It's taking time. It's going to take time. But again, the dwarves are a hardy, resilient race. They will absolutely bounce back. We will repair. Whatever it is that people say after a big storm comes through, we will rebuild. It's kind of the message here. The Thane himself, Durak, within a day or two, he is seen up and moving around. Although not as openly as he once was. He's still injured and he's still taking time to recover. But he is giving what's the word I'm looking for? The obligatory showing my face to reassure the people sort of thing. And he seems to be fine, when he does that. But it's obvious that he's kind of pushing through it for that moment for his people, and then he goes and retires so he can go continue healing it.
The president showing up and
Yeah, exactly. Malthanric, what are your thoughts as to what's going on in the first several hours to the first day or two after the battle? Or that's what your thoughts. What's going on for Malthanric?
Looking forward to a reward from the Thane.
How mercenary of you.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's no
It
love
doesn't
lost
have to be
between the
money.
elves and the dwarves.
No, it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be monetary. And it's
Oh,
also well
and-
known. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I also want to figure out what this unidentified magic item is.
I'm not gonna lie to you. We're not gonna roll on that. I have no idea what I meant it to be when I wrote the character. I want to leave it as an unknown for the possibilities that it might be in the future, if there is a future.
Mm-hmm.
Just as I know who Morden Gaul is, but beyond that magical item, I have no idea. Not a clue. So I'm gonna leave that open, and I will let it be whatever I need it to be. Next story. Eventually, by the way, Thassa's body is taken away. It's handled almost exclusively by Grugold. No, not Grugold. The priest that you guys met, that was with you guys when you got recovered. I can't think of his name off the top. The one that met with Svaldi in prison.
Mm-hmm.
He and a crew of not necessarily monks. What's the word I'm looking for?
Like acolytes?
Yeah, acolytes. Yeah, they come by and collect the body and take it off to some deep part of the mines. Not mines, but deeper parts of the halls, and attend to the remains. Nothing is really said about it. Eventually, after a few days of cleanup, repair, recovery, bodies being taken care of, you are brought forth before the Thane. The Thane has his first official audience. If you recall, previously he would have these things daily, or at least several times a week. He would have these audiences, and people would be able to bring grievances and petitions and things of that nature before him. He would handle them, and some days would be short, some days would be long. This is his first official audience. He seems to be fully recovered. The hall that you are in is the same hall that you fought and slew Thassa. It's been cleaned up. It's, on visual look, it's kind of eerie, perhaps, that you could see where the fighting had taken place, but you don't see any signs of the fighting that had taken place. If that makes any sense?
Mm-hmm.
And he calls you, the three of you, up in front of him as the first order of the day. And you get the following signs of reward. First, goal completion for yourself, short, long, and party. You get all of that XP, whatever that is. An awful lot. Well over 1,000 if I'm not mistaken. You also receive 25 gold coins, which in this system is an awful lot of fucking money.
I was gonna say we were paid in I think
Silvers.
silver last time.
Yeah. This is a lot of money.
For a commoner.
What a rich thing to say.
Look, man, my career tier is still brass too. So you know what?
Really. This is an inheritance right here. Oh, you can expect that to be taxed too, by the way. Just saying.
Fuck.
I mean, how else do you expect the rich to stay rich? Come
Yeah.
on. Additionally, you are offered a manor and several families to work the land and mines, to pay taxes to the Thane, your lord, and to receive the benefits of the Lord's protection. This is a move up from what you had previously been. So, when you think about it in a chivalry sort of way or feudal system, before you guys were effectively, without the pomp and circumstance and all that, effectively the equivalent of knights, without having been knighted. You had that certain respect, scope, power, whatever, right?
Mhm.
You are now being made lesser lords if you choose to accept this. You are given a manor and lands with families to work for you. So you basically you tax them and then you pay your taxes to the Thane. You in return, of course, you receive the benefits of the Thane's protections and uh, effectively a contract of vassalage. You several times the words being remembered in the book of Tharfark is mentioned, and that you will be mentioned as instrumental in the saving of the city and the defeat of the Murgalad invaders. And one favor of the Thane, who swears to honor that favor so long as it is within his power and ability to provide good for the remainder of your lives. Will
Okay.
you,
Alright.
Malthanric, swear vassalage to the Thane and receive your own land and titles within the hall? To be clear, there's no ill will if you say no. He just puts the offer forward.
No, I'll accept it.
Okay. You have now become a resident of Kaimura and a lord in the house of Tharfark. Svaldi, will you sign this contract of vassalage and become a land-owning noble in the house of Tharfark in the city of Kaimura?
His long-term ambition was to attain a plot of land for himself. It's not in the middle of nowhere, but it, you know.
You are definitely not in the middle of nowhere. You are out on the edges of, I almost said human realm, but you are on the edges of civilized country.
But I mean, when else is he gonna have a chance like that? He'll take it.
Okay. You are also recognized as a lower lord in the House of Tharfark with a land, a home, and families that are subservient to you. And to be clear, by the way, when I say subservient, I don't mean slaves or whatever. These are effectively your peasantry.
Yeah.
And you
And
also have one favor to ask of the Thane, who will honor it for the rest of your life, so long as he has the ability to do so.
so with those thief brands and then being a lord, does that make him a robber baron?
I suppose you could style yourself as such if you like. The Thane himself is not going to be too pleased with you twisting the words like that.
No, it was a joke, but
Any other thoughts, ideas, what have you? Any other, I guess, final moments or what have you for the campaign proper? As far as your characters are concerned. I will say this, Malthanric, if you choose to remain here, several months later, you receive your official notice as being a wizard in full rank and title as such. Your magic license does indeed return. It had to
Cool.
be sent all the way back to Tenarior, and it took a long time to get there and a long time to get back. Signed by, as it turns out, I forget your master's name, but your master's name is one of several signatures on the signed, sealed document that is delivered to you.
Good. Now I'm going to go and find out what's in this grimoire.
Oh, that grimoire? I will say this. I want to. You know what? Let's save that for the last actual moment of the campaign. We'll call it a post-credit scene. Svaldi, any other final thoughts, actions that would take place prior to the opening of this grimoire?
Well, he has all those brands, but he's a
Yes.
lord now, so he's gonna want to cover those up. He's definitely getting um like fully enclosed clothing to wear around.
Okay.
That one fits his station, and then two covers all his brands.
I think it's within a handful of days of you assuming your position as a lesser lord, lord of the manor, and all that. That one of your senior, uh, for anybody else it would be a seneschal, but for you he's like probably your highest ranked servant
Mm-hmm.
and assistant, or what we would probably just call a personal assistant in our lives. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he does approach you and says, "My lord, you got the markings on your hands and your face and your back, and I bet you'd be wondering about how to cover them up. Let me get word to a good tailor friend of mine. Let's see if we can't find something that's befitting your stature, and also hides the misdeeds of your youth." Yeah, you thought I was
It
not going
was
to do
on
the
my
dwarven
mind.
accent one time tonight? Yeah, your closest confidant advisor will make it his personal mission over the first few days of finding not just clothing that obscures your markings, but also clothing befitting of a lesser lord in the House of Tharfark. And also, towards the end of that process, we'll be finding tattoo artists. See if there's a way to cover up the brandings and incorporate them into an art that is more befitting of someone who may have had a questionable past, but is now a fine, upstanding citizen in this house of this land.
Mm, that's a good idea too.
Gotcha.
Everyone likes a Viking with tattoos.
Well, everybody likes a good redemption arc, too.
Yeah.
Speaking of redemption arcs, let's see what's in that grimoire. I want to imagine a scene. It's dark, like one faintly light, like one flickering candle, providing a faint amount of light, just enough to read by, barely. Maybe a gust of wind every now and again almost gutters that candle, but it continues on like a little champ. And you sit down at a desk, you thump this big grimoire down. It is covered in darkness. In a very literal sense, but also more importantly in a second sight. This is a dark grimoire, not to make too much use of the word dark here. You are familiar with shadows. The thing about shadows is generically they're not pretty evil. They're just the absence of light. That's all they are. But what you feel when you look at this book, what you feel when you touch this book, death. Absolute, terrifying, the end of life, death. Thassa Murgalad has a grimoire of death magic.
Yep. Kind of
And,
figured as much.
right. But more disturbing, as you skim through the contents, flipping page after page, I need you to make a corruption test. Let me find my notes, or not my notes. Oh, it's right there. Right there. All right, so first you are going to make a challenging. I'm gonna say endurance. Let me double check that. Yep, challenging endurance test. Now, this is major exposure. So you will need multiple levels of success to not receive corruption.
Okay.
This is no modifiers. $77. What's your endurance?
That's what is called a fortune point.
Sure. You may use a fortune point and re-roll that. Have one. This is the last time you will roll a fortune point in this game. Well, that's even worse. Okay. You take 3 points of corruption. I also need you to make a challenging cool test, and before you roll it, I'll explain why. That corruption test that you just didn't do very well was from when you used the Grimstone while fighting Thassa Murgalad. This challenging cool test is to keep your cool as you work your way through this book and you realize rather, chaos magic intertwined with death magic makes for a very deadly, dangerous concoction. This will not be a challenging, my friend. This will be at a -10. Cool.
Okay.
You are exposing yourself to some terrifically dark things. Although it looks like you succeeded.
Yes, I did.
Okay. How many levels of success?
2.
2. So you will take an additional point of corruption. Now, with all of your corruption combined, I'm sorry, how much corruption do you have, and what is your toughness bonus and your willpower bonus combined?
Toughness and willpower?
Yes, the bonuses.
8.
Okay. And how much corruption do you have at this point in time?
8.
Double check if you have to go past it or if hitting the number. Did you ever gain more corruption than your willpower and plus your toughness? Okay, no, you're good. If you had made 9, you would have had to make another test, which might have been damning. But you succeeded.
Okay.
Yeah, this grimoire is full of there are spells in here that will take you years to figure out how to use. If assuming, of course, these are safe enough for you, because for every 5 spells, you might have had one that you think you might be able to use, if you can figure out not just the code that Thassa used in describing these notes, but also just the fact that it's magic and these are things that you've not been exposed to before. But there is, every time you turn the page, there is a chill in the air around you. Several times you feel as though somebody is tap dancing on your spine. It's unnerving and disturbing as you continue to flip through the book. It is scary. If you were above the surface, we would have dramatic flashes of lightning and cracks of thunder. But we're below surface, so we just get cold chills on. And that, my friends, is the end of our story. I want to take a few minutes because we're finished a lot earlier than I thought we would be. So let me peel back the onion layers a little bit. Thassa Murgalad is a wizard that I created some time ago as an idea. Never really locked into a particular particular rule system. Every now and again, as I would try to figure out different game systems, I would put him in, I would create him as a character. And then one day I had the idea, because of reading the Warhammer Fantasy rulebook, I came across the traveling encounters, which is what was the impetus for this whole campaign. I think I've explained that once before. The idea of taking that random encounter table for the open land journey and turning it into a campaign, I was like, okay, this is an interesting idea. I could probably make a game out of this. I probably could make a show out of this. But what puts the players on the road? What makes them, what puts them in this position of having to travel across the land? Because I didn't want to make it just some random, I'm just going to go see my grandma who lives 6 countries on the other side of the world. Because that's kind of ridiculous. You probably wouldn't do that. But you know what would happen in a fantasy world setting is that usually there's some sort of raids or invading force or something like that. But here's the thing. Those sorts of raids and invading forces don't just pick off because it seems like a cool idea. Okay, sometimes. There's usually something behind it. So I needed an impetus, some sort of catalytic moment. And I was like, you know what? I've got this wizard that I've been carrying around in my pocket for years, this mad wizard. A couple years ago, I made him the coach of a Blood Bowl team. I think I mentioned that too. The Norscan Marauders. Thassa Murgalad was the coach team manager for the Norscan Marauders in one universe. And in that time, I roleplayed him a little bit because it was light RP. And I roleplayed him as basically an interdimensional traveler. At some point, he crossed over from his original world and into the Blood Bowl world. And somewhere along the way, he crossed over into this world. Discovered the wonders of Grimstone. Now, I realized the way I just said that, oh, I found out that cocaine is a hell of a drug, and marijuana makes you feel things. And I don't mean it necessarily like that, but from a magical perspective, maybe I do. He gets it into his head that if he can accumulate enough Grimstone and learn and understand magic well enough, he can literally magic a portal back to his original universe and go home. That's all he wanted in Chimera was the Grimstone, and that's what he was doing in the final fight, trying to find a portal to go home. You guys ruined it, bastards.
Damn straight.
But also, like, let's be clear. Let's look at what he did to accomplish that. He spent years learning how magic works in this world, right? Years, decades, probably. At some point, he's like, fuck you, crazy wizards in the elf lands that said humans can't have more than one school of magic. I'm going to join the dark side of magic. Then I'm going to go live out in this far off in the middle of fucking nowhere land, out past Pelath Light, where it's all beastmen and shit. And then he finds the tribe of beastmen and subjugates several tribes, enough to create a horde of beastmen, who he then marches through Pelath Light and the nearby towns to this dwarf hall that has, according to rumors and investigations, plenty of Grimstone for him to use. And here's the magical portal. And you sons of bitches, stop him from going home. All he wanted to do was go home. That's it. He just wanted to go home. He was done with this world.
Maybe he should have listened to the elves.
What a wild take. That's all he wanted to do was go home.
I was gonna say, he like for him, this place was like a video game. We're you know, I just I can't turn it off. I'm looking for the power button. You guys are poking my finger. Stop it.
Yeah, that's definitely a way to look at it. So that was his impetus. Obviously, he was built to be the antagonist, right? So he has no qualms with smashing entire kingdoms in order to meet his goals. You guys are the good guys.
Well, I mean,
you're meant to stop him.
I mean, for him, it's every possible consequence of anything he does is well behind him if he opens the portal and just goes home. Because
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
was a fun romp.
Listen, I watched the first season of Loki last night. 6 episodes in one night. I was fucking wild ass trip. And the idea of hiding a variant just before an apocalypse happens, so that way you can literally have a carte blanche and just do whatever the fuck you want. Nobody will ever fucking know. I was like, damn, that sounds oddly familiar. Where did I hear that before? Oh yeah, Thassa trying to fucking leave whole worlds and universes behind. It was just like, that's wild. So yeah, there's definitely some commonality, some parallelness there that I had not expected when I created this guy and put all this whole campaign together.
I do remember you mentioning Blood Bowl before.
Yes.
And that was very funny.
So Thassa Murgalad being created as a wizard in that game was the first time he ever had any actual screen time. As a concept character, he's existed for years. I just never locked him into place. And so in a sort of, how if you look at like the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Marvel Comics in general, there's a lot of like Easter eggs and things like cross over from one thing to another. If you look at World of Darkness, there's a character that's been a vampire, a werewolf, a ghost, a changeling, and it's all lore, right? Evidently. I don't know how exactly that works, but Thassa was sort of my own take on that applied in this sort of thing in my games. So he was a Blood Bowl manager at one time. I think the lore I had established at that point was literally he had, for whatever reason, ended up leaving his world and coming to that world, ended up around the North Pole of the old world, which the 2 poles is where all the chaos energy basically gathers and spreads outwards.
Thanks, elves.
Yeah. Of course, that's where also the Norse, or the Norskins, which, that's where he made his football team, the Norskin Marauders. And, he tried to accomplish things. But again, I'm not very good at Blood Bowl. Other players are. I basically became the guy that was used to getting his ass beat. Kind of like anytime I game master anything related to BattleTech. I'm there meant to give you just enough challenge to push your limits and then die. Ironically, he did the exact same fucking thing here.
That was actually paced out really nice. I was going to say that as a parting thing, but like that was paced really well. It was just enough to go, oh shit, and not feel like we're just gonna roll this guy over and like die. So like that was really good.
I'll be honest. I was excited for this scenario after I finally put it on paper and fleshed every bit out several weeks ago. We had the whole battle of Kai Murik. I had written it out where you guys are going to have a number of encounters in the basement, and then you would be drawn up to where Thos is doing his portaling shit. And
Hmm.
that was when I was like, okay, I don't want to just have just a regular poke and slash, hack and slash fight. Like, let's put some shit on the table. Let's make this the big final battle it's meant to be. And I think I was excited for the idea on paper, and I was hopeful that it would turn out well. I think it did. In my opinion, it did for what I was able to experience. So therefore, obviously, I hope it worked out really well for you guys as a final battle, because it wasn't your straight up hack and slash like it was with the fights downstairs. There was a different thing going on for Thassa's success condition. There was the fear angle. There was, how do we just stop him from doing whatever it is he's doing? We don't know what he's doing, but we obviously should probably stop him. I'm curious to
The
know what you guys think, or I'm curious to know what you guys have to say about that final
um the timer was good. Um, not very many fights are brave enough to use a timer like that.
fight.
Um, and having that sort of initial sort of like, oh, 8. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to get 35. Oh, that's fine. And then that 16, and oh shit.
Yeah.
I gotta make those cool rolls, man. I'm gonna be willing to spend some fate point. Like it turned out I didn't have to because the die rolled really well. But like
Yeah.
I would have started burning fate points and maybe have done one of those I shall not fail
Yeah.
things with resolve
Yep.
just to get out of that state where I can't do anything but make those cool rolls. So it was there. We just rolled pretty well.
You
And
you guys did roll rather well throughout. Not just a couple of times, but consistently rolled really well. I had kind of gamed this out a little bit in my head, and I had figured somewhere between 4 and 5 rounds before he got the portal open and did what he was. Which,
you were
by the
about on
way,
track.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You were about on track for that. That was a good guess.
Yeah. Uh, well, before I reveal that part, let me see. Darius, what thoughts, feedback, or what have you do you have for that final?
I didn't think we were going to make it.
Really? Oh, because of the fights downstairs or the fight upstairs?
No, the fight upstairs.
You thought you wouldn't be able to keep him from making it through?
Right.
Yeah, I mean I think that what really did it was the combination of the criticals that were starting to take effect, and finally getting that choking shadows or whatever that spell was take effect when it did. I think if the choking shadows had not happened, he still would have had a half a chance, and I might have been able to use fortune or resolve or something like that to get out of that condition, or at least be able to finish the spell, especially since I was so close to being right there. But once you slap that uh, choking shadows on him and it actually knocked him out, that's once he fell asleep, that was it. All that accumulated success, all of that accumulated magic just fizzled out, and that's what actually won the fight. Like the damage, don't get me wrong, the damage was phenomenal. It was really helpful, but what really sealed the deal for him, as far as his defeat, was being knocked out. Because once he's knocked out, he absolutely cannot resist in any way, shape, or form. And now, literally, you ended it with a dagger to the eye. You could have taken your time with it. You could have slow action that shit. And so that's really what did it. That choking shadow spell was super powerful in this state. But that's fine. It's 1000% totally okay. I loved it. Here's the funny part. At least to me, this is funny. When I wrote this battle, there was the condition, of course, of what happens when Thassa gets his 35 successes and he forms the portal. Which, keep in mind, until I revealed that he was trying to create a portal, you guys had no idea what he was trying to do. If he got his 35, once he got his 35 successes, the very next round, the portal would have opened, and then Subsequent round after that, he would have walked through, the portal closes, game over.
Mm.
Now, consequences of him succeeding, which, again, his victory condition was not to beat you guys, but to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
He was drawing not just magic from the Grimstone, super fucking helpful that it was. He was drawing the life energies of everything around him, living or dead. Now, I realize when I say drawing life energies and then I follow it up with living or dead, what he was doing was very much necromantic and pulling every bit of power out of any living thing he could have, even if they had just died in the fight. If you recall, I may have mentioned it. If you didn't, there was a time I was going to give you a perception test, but it was like a plus 20, so it's kind of like whatever. He was pulling magical power from even the dead beastmen. He needed an awful lot of power. I mean, let's think about it. You're opening a portal to another universe. You're not Rick Sanchez or whatever his fucking. Like you need a lot of fucking power to do that. You don't have a portal gun. The consequences of him stepping through that portal and disappearing would have meant the Thane would have died and the sun would have had to take over. That has, in a real world succession story, that's troubling. We like to think that when the father dies and the son takes over, that typically that's a very smooth transition, but that is not always the case. There are many, 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 many cases historically, going far back even beyond the Roman Empire. When an emperor or king dies and the next guy takes over, it's not always a smooth transition. So theoretically, the son taking over, which I had scripted to be an easy thing, could have gone very poorly for many people. Additionally, you may not have gotten all of the rewards and benefits you got because you guys have failed. And even though the surface layer results was we're still alive, so we must have won, it doesn't always work. You know what I mean? But you killed the guy. You got all sorts of bennies out of it. You succeeded in this glorious task of figuring out what the fuck this dude was all about, or at least stopping him from doing what he was trying to do. I am curious. What thoughts were going through your guys' minds as to what spell he was about to cast that he needed so many successes for? Between both of you, not just the wizard.
I figured he was trying to some sort of demon.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking demon. Either that or he was getting ready to just make an undead army, like
Raising the
just
dead,
basically shuffle off everyone's mortal coil and raise them as an undead army, and then go on to his next conquest.
That would have been pretty epic, actually. Yeah, that would have been epic. You guys just getting swallowed up in the army of the dead that he just raised in front of you.
I knew it wasn't good.
What's that?
But I knew it wasn't good. I just didn't know what flavor of not good it was. But it turns out, like in the grand scheme of things, the spell itself,
The interesting part was, and I chose the portal home spell as opposed to raise all the dead spell as a, what do they call that? Subversion of expectations.
Yeah, that was a good one. Because like immediately, oh, necromancy. He's just gonna raise everybody from the dead.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go through a whole. This is gonna be the boss fight phase 2, where we have to fight off all of his undead minions, and then we can fight him again.
Yeah. So that was a good subversion.
And then summoning a demon. That would have been epic right there. If he had brought out some sort of demon, that would have been an epic phase 2 of this boss fight.
I don't know if we would have had the health.
I don't think you would have survived that one, to be honest with you. I would have tried to choose a demon that I could manage and probably wouldn't kill you, but would give you a sufficient challenge. But that would have been a hell of a fight. That would have been a fight.
That would have been interesting if like, so it was like, oh, you're about to be now, and he was like, no, fuck you, I'm killing you too, and like, oh, friends.
Yeah, the demon gambit fails. Yeah. Okay, you win. Just let me leave. Just let me leave. I'll take my bullshit somewhere else. I think that was a pretty good boss fight for the story. It ultimately was really just Thassa just wanted to go home. He was tired of this place. He was ready to go. And that had been, like I said, like, again, peeling the onions back, peering under the hood and all that. He came here as a fairly young man, started learning magic because he did not know what else to do in this world and just wanted to go back to what he knew, and this was not it. Spent a lifetime here learning and mastering magic and subverting so many things and joining the dark side, or, you know, whatever the fantasy magic equivalent would be. And finally realizing that he could have it within him to actually create the portal home. He just had to do an awful lot of crazy dumb shit, like raise an army to capture this town to capture this town that has the Grimstone that will power his spells to actually create the rift needed. I think it would have been interesting just if I could. Obviously, I never make anybody have to have a face cam, but had there been cameras, I would have loved to see the look on your guys' faces when the end game basically kicks off with a portal is formed, he walks through, the portal closes. End of story. It'd just be like, wait, you mean
Fuck you?
no demon, no undead horde? That's it? That's the end? Yeah, that's the end. You failed. Your job was to, you know, from a campaign standpoint.
Just wanted to go home.
Yeah, he just wanted to go home, and you let him. Good job. Because, of course, there's also the unimplied, or perhaps subtly implied, one day he'll be back. You know, after our post-credit scene, we get the words on the screen, Thassa will return.
Grabs Malthanric. We need to follow him.
Other than everything we talked about so far, what are some of the other great moments you think from this campaign? We've had several sessions and some very interesting moments throughout the entire process.
I do like the start where it was calm, almost like, oh yeah, I could get used to this, and then the game just like, nope, you're leaving.
Nope, fuck you.
Yep.
I liked I despite the tedium, I guess, the Grimstone Way was fun. The weather and rain dye were actually kind of cool because you didn't really know what to expect, and you did have to kind of not really plan, but react accordingly. So if it was really rainy, you're not getting any firewood.
Yeah.
But it might be a good time to try and get extra distance because maybe they can't see where we're going.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened that we bumped into some orcs that we weren't expecting.
Yeah, those orcs fucked you guys up. Oh god, what was his name? Roland, the fucking good guy cavalryman that never got to do anything cool.
Yeah.
And then fighting the Minotaurs. That was actually really fun.
It was not so fun for me because as I recall, without going back to look at the tape, as I recall, that Minotaur fight was done and over in seconds. I was like, fuck, that Minotaur was meant to scare the shit out of you guys.
Well, at first it did, and then the dice just decided that they were on our side, and
I was so disappointed at that. Let me be clear, I was not disappointed as I say. It was good that you guys overcame it, for sure.
You plop those down to get certain things out of them. It's sort of like, oh, when they don't perform, and it's just kind of like, you guys had one job.
Yeah, you had one job. That was to absolutely scare the shit out of the players, and you just moderately annoyed
them. And then having to rush over and save the other dwarf group, that was fun.
That was a big fight.
Yeah, it was a big fight.
Good fight too, I think.
It was challenging enough, and to where you were never quite sure if you were going to win that one. So that was balanced pretty good.
I'm so glad to hear that because this was my first foray into this game system, and so as a GM, that's almost exactly what you want. You want things to be presented to the players that you think they can handle, and you want to push the players and their characters to their limits, but you don't want to overcome them, right?
Yeah.
And we did that multiple times throughout the campaign where you guys were pushed to the limit in one way or another. The orc fight was the closest we got to a TPK. And in fact, theoretically should have been a TPK, except for the fact that I didn't want to finish either. And it was a little cheaty, but there was a way for me to write you guys out of that and onto, as it turns out, the final arc of the story. So it worked out in that. But yeah, the fights downstairs, they were meant to give you that challenge. They were meant to drain you of your resources a little bit, so that when this boss fight came, that this would be even more of a struggle, but one that you would still be able to overcome, or at the very least, that was the other thing about the final fight, was that it wasn't intended specifically that you had to beat Thassa. If he succeeded and went through the portal and got away, and you guys were still alive, as far as the campaign's concerned, that's still a victory. You guys are still alive.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the ideal outcome.
Yeah.
The neutral ending.
Yes, a neutral ending, for sure. Darius, any thoughts over the stretch of the campaign? Favorite moments? Great moments?
Not more than what he already said.
I created that the wind and rain, whatever the fuck it was, the rain and the weather, ice shit, right?
Yeah.
And I don't say that, like, I'm not trying to take any more credit than what's due, but I created that system to be kind of an abstract, here's what the weather is, and I didn't do anything much beyond, if the weather is this, then this sort of thing happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you rolled that the temperatures are cold and you rolled that there's a lot of rain, then it's going to be a lot of snow. Or it could be this kind of storm or that kind of storm, whatever the case might be. I decided, instead of trying to make some convoluted, complicated schematic system for, if the weather's this, then this happens, and in order to do this, you have to do that, because whatever, and, survival. I was like, you know what? No, that's too much. One, I will never finish creating it. I'll never be able to get it refined the way I want it. And two, it might just be better that if you simply say, hey, it's raining like a motherfucker, and it's getting worse, and it's getting colder, that will be enough to make the players make decisions based on what their characters have to do to get through that day. And that will be the story. And I think that worked out rather well.
It did, because I remember that first time it really started raining. I'm like, I know, I heard Boy Scouts say that the core of the wood's still dry. We can still get dry firewood. We just gotta work harder.
That's awesome, though. I think it really worked out really well that I didn't have this heavy, crunchy roll for this, roll for that thing. I kept it simple. Here's how bad the weather is. Here's how good the weather is. Here's your situation. You're trying to get from A to B. You've got several days and a couple more weather rolls throughout the day. Take it away. And I think that allowed a little bit of creative wiggle room for what you guys were dealing with. It allowed flexibility on my part to be like, oh, it's stormy, rainy. Yeah, you're not making it very far today. It's perfectly dry and kind of warm out. You can cover a lot of ground today if you want. You can find plenty of stuff to keep you going. Find food, it'll be easy today. Pissing down rain, cold,
I would
not so much.
I would keep that system.
I think I will. I may modify it slightly for
really
different things, but I think that weather system was really adequate for, especially, at least, see, that was what I was thinking. I was like, I need some sort of weather random thing. Because you guys are literally in the mountains where that weather can change drastically and often.
Mm-hmm.
And initially this story was meant to be not necessarily exploration, but certainly survival. And so I needed that weather element to really add to the level of, oh shit, if we're not careful, I literally wrote words like frozen to death and frostbite and things of that nature into the weather system rules, that if you're out in that weather too long and you're not, if you guys imagine being soaked all day and then the temperatures drop below freezing and you don't have a fire, you're going to fucking die.
I
That's just
wasn't
the
soaked all
reality.
day.
Huh?
I wasn't soaked all day.
I'm a wizard elf. I can cast keep dry clothes spell. Yeah, we know, cheap bastard. Oh, you mean the duration on my stay dry spell is out? I'm just going to recast it. Not for nothing. That was I just a picture like this fucking elf. Is he really dry right now? I'm soaked to my goddamn skivvies. This motherfucker over here dry as if the sun was out all day.
Because I think there were a couple nights where we were running up against last firewood, last rations, and we were
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
That's actually another thing I should keep in mind too is how I was keeping track of rations and firewood, the different counters on the table right now. That's something I should keep along with that weather system
yeah.
sort of thing, because that definitely, I'm sure that definitely helped motivate you guys in decision making. That as much as you might be like, wow, those the sounds of the horde getting closer and closer is really intimidating, but you know what we also need? Fucking food. Fucking
Food.
firewood. We need, not only do we need to keep moving, but we need to keep gathering. We need to keep hunting, gathering. I think all of that stuff really did work out really, really well. You know, with what I envisioned and what actually came to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you got, not for nothing. Listen, I brought a certain amount of craziness to the table, but you guys brought a certain amount of let's make this work and figure out how to get through the day so we can get to where we're going to the table as well. And that really helped tell the whole story. Obviously, as much as I brought to the table, there's only so much I can do. That, you know, you need the players to. Really, you guys make this happen.
Would you have been happier with more players? I know we've talked
Yes,
we've
I
talked and
would
tried
have.
about getting more.
I think overall, assuming the story had more or less followed the same beats, which it probably would have, to some extent at least, it would have been interesting to have more players at the table for sure. There would be more fingers in the pie. There would have been, so one of my things is conflict equals drama. And now, keep in mind, of course, the word conflict has a very wide range of meanings. It could be anything from two friends that just don't agree on how things should be handled to full-blown cataclysmic world destruction wars and people trying to destroy entire universes to go home. But conflict equals drama. Drama is a selling point for a story. You don't have a good story without a little bit of drama.
Yeah.
And drama also is a wide-reaching description of things too, because characters having a candid discussion, heavy discussion, an emotional discussion about what we should do moving forward, and disagreeing is just enough conflict to create enough drama to make a story.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I have noticed in my own consumption of media is that I am sometimes drawn to some old movies and TV shows that are almost purely dialogue driven. I can't think of anyone to fucking give a good example. But if you ever watch any movie from like the 50s or 60s, and a lot of it is dialogue that tells the story of what's going on, and you find yourself listening and paying attention going, huh, that's a good point. Ooh, that's a really good point. Oh man, I wonder what they're going to do next. That means that dialogue was good. Dialogue did exactly what it needed to do. And I think we had a lot of those kinds of moments in this story. And I think having a few more people at the table would have helped create more of those. One thing that I missed, and this is not a knock on you guys, and I think it's almost entirely because there's just two players here with two characters who have a certain outlook, we'll say. One thing we didn't have was a lot of in-character interactions between the two of them. Specifically between the two. If we had more player characters at the table, I feel like there would have been more player character interaction, and that would have added to the story. Now, that's not me digging on you guys or anything. I think a lot of that has to do with your characters your way and your characters that way, and those two ways just don't align or intersect. And that's fine. Having more player characters with a similar sort of construction, sort of similar concepts, would have allowed for more interactions and to take place. If we had even two more people, or even just one more person, I tried to do what I could with Beothric and before him Roland, but I felt when I'm playing these NPCs that they needed to be a bit more in the supporting role than an active role, because this is supposed to be your story. Although it is my story. I created it, but it's your story because
Yeah.
so.
Um, I I was gonna say part of it is because Svaldi's really meant to be sort of that outlier of the party who's
Yeah.
just barely attached.
Yep.
Um,
And obviously, Malthanric is meant to be a sort of leader type character, or somebody in a prominent position, and that's fine. So you guys almost have a what's the word? Opposing dynamics.
yeah.
Your two character concepts don't mesh well with each other, and that's fine. That's fine. What would have made that less important for you guys meshing well is if there were other characters that would mesh well, that would indirectly mesh with you guys. That as a group dynamic would have been perfectly fine, because we don't need all the characters interacting well with all the other characters all the time in order for it to have a good group.
Running into the dwarves was actually sort of perfect because one lawless character and one elf really don't jive well with the dwarves. So like that that was a really nice way to eke out a little more interaction. That wasn't just, oh, hi Roland. I guess we're just freezing tonight. Um, uh, because outlaw and elf, just two people that on any other circumstance would not fit into dwarf society at all.
the,
Yeah.
the dwarves are too loft. So I'm using D&D terms because that's one of the primary means by other than Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
The dwarves are too lawful by nature, and elves are too chaotic by.
Hmm.
Even though they're both good, or at least neutral. Uh, the and of course the outlaw is obviously too chaotic, but the outlaw is more self-focused, where elves are traditionally group-focused, or other elves. Barely anything else. And especially in my world, like the dwarves of my world of Erewan are very much like your stereotypical dwarf. Very socially intertwined and self-supporting as a collective. Most often it's going to be for the good of the group versus the good of the individual, because that's how dwarves survive and succeed, by working together. How else do you have? If everybody was out for themselves, they wouldn't all be living underground. They would all scatter. Introducing an outlaw and an elf, I hope I really played that well for what most people would think of dwarves and elves being brought to a dwarven society. I definitely hammed up some of the moments, especially the elfness.
It
But I figured that was
was
just
good.
good bits.
Everyone loves dwarf elf conflicts.
I mean, that's like so many different world creation elements. Is a major elf dwarf conflict of some sort. And so, in one of my earliest iterations, in fact, of Erewan, there had been either a 1,000 or 10,000 year war between the elves and the dwarves. I don't think I ever actually went much further than the idea. It's certainly not in its current iteration, dwarves and elves. At least in the old world, the dwarves of there's I'm gonna kind of go on a little bit of a tangent, but in Tunarior, which is in the north, and then the Halas Valley, which is in the south, and then on the east and the west are two separate mountain ranges. The dwarves and the elves kind of abut each other, if that makes any sense. And there's definitely moments of conflict, but they haven't had open warfare ever. Because much like Lord of the Rings, most of the civilized races are more or less aligned with each other, or at least tolerant of each other enough to not have to go. Now, every now and again, there is kind of course like the Scythians. This empire, this empire, they are all about subjugating everybody, and they are very much racist. But they also believe that that's the only way to preserve the world is to bring consistency and rule.
Mhm.
This is why they've been generationally fighting for fucking decades and decades and decades, centuries even. That's their bullshit. Any other questions? Decision like why were certain decisions made, whether in character or out of character, by me, the GM, role creation, story that was told, anything for that matter. Just any other thoughts you want to throw out there, questions you want to know?
The reason you chose Beastman over anything else, or was that just the flavor that fit best?
It was the flavor that fit best. I didn't want to do the orc horde. Um, in my in the novel, in the novelized version of this, put it like that. It, there aren't beastmen, but that means you have to take using the D&D-esque side of things. It was goblins and kobolds that end up being allied together through a little bit of a spoiler here. Through no, I'm gonna keep that to myself actually.
Okay.
I chose beastmen because orcs, goblins don't exist in the same way I viewed them for this world initially. I've made
Mhm.
some changes from my ideas of Erewan to fit the Warhammer world a little bit, as we can tell, obviously with like magic, for instance, and to some
Mhm.
extent the orcs. The orcs, I very much use Warhammer orcs as opposed to like orcs.
Yeah.
There are no goblins in the Warhammer setting outside of basically tiny versions of orcs that are less violent and more sneaky, shifty, stab you in the back.
Mhm.
Somebody somewhere is going to be like, that's not accurate at all, and that's fine. You can disagree. There are goblins for sure, snotlings, but they are basically a lower form of orc. There are no kobolds that I'm aware of. The closest you have are Skaven, which are much more rats than they are dragon dog. So
Mhm.
kobold more draconic than they are. So they left Beastmen, and I felt like, you know what? Narratively, creatively, Beastmen fit. They're scary. They can be troublesome, especially in large numbers. But they're not the Green Tide sort of scary.
Mhm.
At least I didn't think they absolutely can be terrifying. Don't get me wrong, but they're not terrifying in the way that a mountain of green slobbering orcs will come by, destroy your village, and eat everything once lived, and then continue to fight amongst themselves as some force behind them pushes them.
Mhm.
Beastmen are similar in some ways that they don't normally team up, so to speak, between one herd and the next. But I want to imagine that in both orcs and gore and whatever else, that if you get somebody strong enough of will that can somehow exert dominance, you can get many tribes lined up and marched in a formation in your direction. It just takes a certain
Kind
amount
of
of
like,
willpower.
with that one chick that we gunned down in Rogue Trader.
Yes, yeah. Now she was there specifically for different reasons.
Mhm.
Mostly because she's basically there as a handler for the orcs. Here, take this bag of orcs and throw it at the enemy. That's what she did. And then she did it rather well because she was able to psychically dominate them and get absolutely annihilated by you guys. But that was a disappointment. I really wanted to get more out of her than that, but whatever. It worked for you
That's the
guys.
way
Who cares?
that's the way the dice rolled.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how she was, and so that's how she was able to get all the orcs to work together. She just dominated the big boss, who
Mhm.
then smashed enough heads together to make everybody else work. In a similar vein, Thassa had done something similar behind the scenes with the hordes. He basically promised them, "Hey, work for me, and you can have all the shit you could ever find in the civilized kingdom, like the dwarves up ahead." It worked. The Gore were like, "Okay, yeah, we'll go take all their shit happily."
Mhm.
Um, I mean, there's probably some more stuff behind the scenes going on that Thassa would have to constantly, let's say, massage egos and continue his diplomatic efforts on an almost daily level. I mean, listen, Mance Raider didn't bring giants and cannibals together on a whim. Okay, it took years of effort. That's a Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
Mance Raider effectively allied or brought together all the people to the far of the north that's always winter and said, we're gonna
Mhm.
go fuck up the wall now. And much like Thassa, that did not work out well for him.
Yeah.
Anyway. Any other thoughts, questions, revelations you'd like revealed? Darius?
Not at this time.
I do hope you decide to continue this when you get more breathing space, because I know you got quite a few games going on right now.
Do have a few. I do hope to have more. To be totally honest, like the fact that there's only 2 players and the number of views is kind of low. This game coming to an end is not as unexpected or unwarranted. I don't know. That's not the right word. But like, it's not gonna hurt me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Continuing the story, another vein. I'm not sure if I want to continue the story in Warhammer Fantasy. Don't get me wrong, Warhammer Fantasy is a great system. I really enjoyed the system for what it is. Absolutely. I think trying to take my homebrew world and make it work in the system is not the best use of either system or my world.
The way this system's set up really, really, really wants you to play something in the Warhammer universe.
Yes, it does.
Um,
And that's okay. Because the Warhammer universe or the Warhammer Fantasy world or whatever, it's wonderful. It's awesome. I
yeah.
really enjoy it. I like this system. I just feel like I'm really trying super hard to shoehorn my world into it. And we did that for this story fairly well. I don't know if I want to continue putting forth that sort of effort to make the story work in this system for this.
Mm-hmm.
I can adjust things for the story to work in this world, but not. Or excuse me, I can make a story work in the Warhammer world, but I can't make my world work in the Warhammer. That makes it.
Yeah.
And so that's the one. I don't want to say travesty. Not worse. Like that's the one thing that I'm taking from that I'm disappointed. Is I don't know if this is the best system to use to tell the story of Erewan.
Did
It
you like the
might
system
just.
enough to
But
run just a Warhammer Fantasy game,
yes,
or okay.
yes, I do want to run a Warhammer, including in the next iteration, the next 4 games I'm considering running. The I believe it's called the Enemy Within campaign, which is legitimate old world Warhammer Fantasy campaign that has been in existence since like the 80s, been updated for all the different editions. Won several awards from my understanding. That is a campaign I would like to run at some point near future. Whether or not I'm actually able to do it is a different story, but it's on the table of basically if I have a table and at the center of that table was a marker and that marker said the next thing, it's on that table.
Mm-hmm.
Along with something called Alien New Frontier, along with Star Trek The Shackleton Expanse, along with A Song of Ice and Fire, along with also on a let's call it on a nightstand next to that table is Vampire 5 and Battletech.
That was a good one.
Well, because I have some interest in doing Vampire and I have some interest in doing Battletech, I just don't know if those levels of interest are the same as the other. And even amongst those 4, those levels of interest vary from day to day. But those are the 4 that I'm kind of, I guess, preparing to slot in next. Alien New Frontier, The Enemy Within, Star Trek Shackleton, and Ice and Fire.
Um,
Darius,
the
you
Star
good? I
Trek
saw you drop from the
Adventures.
table.
Oop.
Darius dropped from the table. You're still in the connection.
Uh-oh. we may have lost connection because.
Yep, there he goes.
Yep, there he goes.
Yep. We'll see if he comes back.
Is it? Yeah.
Hopefully he does. I assume
It's
he will.
it's Star Trek Adventures, right?
Yes, Star Trek
the
Adventures
first one?
2nd edition.
I heard that was pretty fun.
One thing I've gotten from it, from the little bit I've dug into it, other than like reading the rules and that, is when they released first edition, and there was people that had feedback, they took a lot of that feedback and applied it to the second edition. So, in a similar way that Alien and Alien Evolved, the people that wrote one and then rolled it into the next, also listened to people, because from looking at things I've seen in Alien RPG and then looking at Alien RPG Evolved, it's a very similar concept that people are taking feedback from players and putting it into the new set of rules.
Mm-hmm.
I've really enjoyed the Alien RPG between both my campaigns and another campaign I joined to play as a player. So that's why Alien New Horizon, or excuse me, New Frontier. I want to say Horizon or something. So my Alien game was first. It was Along the Frontier, which told the story of the Frontier War.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, a sequel campaign, which was or is Beyond the Frontier. And then the third installment is New Frontier, which will be a spiritual successor, but not the same character. Set in the same universe
Okay.
as the previous. That's what Alien New Frontier. Obviously, the Enemy Within campaign. Again, that's Warhammer Fantasy. That's set within a pre-published campaign that's been decades. Gotten many accolades and awards and whatnot. Well regarded by the Warhammer. Wonderful game. Seems very interesting from what I've taken a look at. I've read quite a bit of it, not the whole thing, but it does seem very interesting. Looks like something that'll be interesting to run in complete form. Star Trek Adventures: The Shackleton Expanse. The Shackleton Expanse is a stretch of space lying between basically the Romulan Empire, the Klingon Empire. Well, back that up. Shackleton Expanse is a stretch of space just beyond. I guess let's just call it between the Romulans and the Klingons, where some part of the Federation kind of reaches into, and then it's like open, uncharted, unexplored, unclaimed space. There is a 10, let's call it a 10 mission campaign or 10 scenario campaign that is central to the Shackleton Expanse story. And of course, the rest of that story is this uncharted stretch of space that players and GMs can do whatever they want with. Sandbox, basically.
That's pretty cool.
So I have, as a rough framework, a 2 to 3 season campaign idea that I would have to flesh out to make. Again, that's on the next step table. And then the Song of Ice and Fire RPG has a full adventure in the book. Well, it has a starter adventure that got expanded into a full adventure in the rule book. And then and then I have a subsequent, basically a 4 adventure campaign that, the way I'm looking at doing it, would tie in from, let's say, 2 or 3 years before the books, leading right up until about a year before. And then, so that would be basically the first and second season, more or less, of that show. And then the third season would be the beginning of the War of 5. And when John Aaron dies, and later Robert Baratheon dies, and the whole succession mess. North rebels. What we commonly would refer to as a Game of Thrones, but more specifically as Ice and Fire. That's the other one. And then as far as Vampire 5th edition, I know Darius is not a fan of 5th edition, and that's fine. I have a few ideas. It's probably going to be set around Chicago. That one has a rough framework supporting potentially 2 to 3 seasons as well. And what was the final game? Oh, BattleTech. I've got a number of ideas. I'm not sure where I want to go. I'm not sure how roleplay it might be, how battle centric it might be, but BattleTech is one of those things that's just always kind of lingering in the background. At any point, I could probably slap something together if I get enough of the bug. Definitely
In
one of
spite of
those.
you,
Nice, nice.
What's that, Darius?
in spite of you always losing.
I heard. Okay, I think what he said was despite the fact that I'm always losing, or is it because I'm always losing? His
Yeah.
connection.
Robo dog.
Yeah, his connection got to absolute shit for a second there, but yeah, I enjoyed BattleTech. That's just the plain nuts and bolts of it. I enjoyed BattleTech, and as a GM, losing is not as or winning, I suppose more accurate, is not as important to me. It's nice when I get a few matches in and I actually win, but BattleTech is the game that I learned how to be a GM because I had to learn ultimately to lose gracefully. Nobody wants a GM that's actively trying to kill their players.
Well, because like if a GM wanted, you just throw away Thos and then plop down the dragons that have fun, chuckle fucks, and then like you know.
You're not wrong, right? Like, yeah. Oh, you thought you glass fucking Thassa right off the bat? Here's a motherfucking dragon. Go get fucked.
So like.
Oh, you glass the dragon too? The whole fucking town collapses on you. You're buried. You die. End of story. We're done here. Fuck you. Listen, I felt a little dirty when I pulled out that fortune point or resolve point or whatever the fuck I used.
No. That was really good because that let him. That was just enough to keep him around long enough for it not to be like, well, the dice are just gonna roll him over.
Yeah.
And it was a good point to play that point. And if I was a player, I'd be expecting you, and you took that as a player character. I'm like, why aren't you using a fate point to just like stand back up? Please stand back. So
Yeah.
that was a good spot to do it.
Well, I just wish I had thought about that when y'all killed Davros, and be like, oh, but that's what you think happens. What actually happens is he moves out of the way at the very last second and comes back to life. No damage. But I don't think fate points are worded exactly that way. I think fate points, they do give you the, well, somehow I survived option, right? It's something like the grace of the God Emperor, something silly like
that. I think you're still unconscious and bleeding though. So like it saves you from being dead, but it doesn't
get you out of harm's way.
No.
This one also doesn't get you there. There is a very similar one where you do manage to escape somehow, and I almost used it, but I was reading through it really quick, and I was kind of like, I still managed to get away, but that's exactly the opposite of what Thassa is trying to do here. His idea of getting away requires a few more successes that I don't quite have yet, and using this resolve like this doesn't justify giving me a couple more successes all of a sudden without a roll, right? It's one thing if I like, well, I'm just gonna use my resolve and take no damage. Go get fucked. There goes your arrow right into the wall on the other side of the room. That looked really cool. I could play that off, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't play off like, oh, not only does he not kill me, and not only do I somehow magically survive like Palpatine, I also get extra successes to create this portal to get out of here because this resolve point allowed me to make some sort of escape. No. Now, if I had come in here and was then attempting to escape, then I could use it and be like, well, somehow he got away. Leave it open and leave it nebulously vague as to how exactly he got away. He got away. Barely. There's a blood trail. Follow the blood trail. Blood trail leads to a cliff. It's so weird. Where did he go? I don't see his body down there. Then that would be justifiable, right? You could make that work. But, yeah. No, I think the way it played out ultimately was totally fine. Totally fine. I really enjoyed that fight. Somehow circle back to I really did enjoy that fight. I enjoyed this campaign. I knew from the
really good job.
Yeah, I knew from the get-go. Thank you. I knew from the get-go it was going to be relatively short. I had entertained ideas about continuing beyond this point, but because of the other interests I have developed in the months, weeks, however long it's been since we started, and the idea that I'm not sure if Erewan is right for this game system. That's why we're stopping as far as the story's considered. Stopping here.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I want to say thank you for my players because, as I mentioned previously tonight, I can bring everything I want to the table, but it takes the players to make it actually happen. I can always sit down and get ready to tell a story, but if I don't have an audience, that doesn't. Talking into the void. Thank you, Darius. Thank you for entertaining me and ideally my viewers. You that have the show. Pretty sure Fullhammer is the one out of every 2 or 3 views I get on the videos. Like, pretty sure it's Fullhammer. And Fullhammer, thank you. Also, other viewers, whoever you may be, thank you. Thank you. I think, for me, my favorite moment of this campaign was this final fight. I feel like maybe I put a lot of an investment of some sort into this fight to go the way it did. And for everything in this final 3 sessions, the Battle of Chimera, to go the way they went, which was almost exactly what I wanted, that means a lot to me. Because I knew, for instance, I wanted to throw the Minotaur at you guys at some point. Because it would make sense, considering you're fighting Beastmen, that there would be a Minotaur somewhere. And I wanted that to be near the end of the entire battle. Because the threat escalating. If you notice, the first fight was kind of easy. The second fight was supposed to be a little bit harder. Third fight was going to be harder still. And then the Minotaur. And then the final fight. And they were supposed to be, progressively getting worse and worse, harder and harder and harder. And I think I pulled that off exactly the way it was meant to be. I think the fight with Thassa being more than just a fight to death, but a fight to, keep him from completing his objective that you guys didn't even know what he was trying to do. I think everything worked exactly the way I wanted it to. Not necessarily the exact outcome I was hoping for or anything silly like that, but like everything I put on the table went the way I wanted it to, in general. Obviously, there's a part of me that would have liked Thassa to have actually... I would have liked to have had that moment of Thassa just opening the portal, stepping through, and saying, "Fuck you!" I think that would have been hilarious, but also, thematically, narratively, it makes much more sense that he just ends up falling asleep and getting stabbed in the eye. I mean, he was the bad guy. Got beat. That's what happens in a good story. Had he gotten away, it would have been an interesting second story at some point. But enough of all that. Any final thoughts for tonight? Final thoughts for the campaign before we close the stream? Say goodbye.
You did a really good job balancing everything.
Thank you.
The only time it felt kind of weird was while we were still learning really how the system worked, and
it's probably more because we were learning how the system works, not so much the fact that I threw a bunch of bullshit at you.
yeah,
I hope anyway.
Well, like I think we finally settled on the best way to deal with that fortune, so it's not just like, oh, look, the entire team has like 5,000 fucking
the
advantage.
Tracking
Yeah.
advantage individually, but also capping it at 5. Yeah, I think that was the best way to make advantage work for us. Not necessarily anybody else, but certainly for us, what we were doing here. I didn't want to. I think tracking it individually made it a little tedious, especially when we had that big fight with the other dwarves. But we got through it. Like, it was a tedious slog of dice rolling, but I tried to get through it. Like, and one thing that helped too was we figured out the system enough to, all right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Okay, it's your turn. Oh, you're gonna do that. Okay, well, I'm gonna do this. All right, cool. Moving on. Next guy. It got a little tedious, a little repetitive in that regard, but I think we made it work. And capping advantage at 5 and tracking advantage individually made it a lot easier and a little bit more entertaining. Also, perhaps a little bit intimidating, depending on where the advantage was sitting at the time. Because when your opponent has more advantage than you, That's a little scary, a little stressful. But then suddenly you roll better, and now you have the advantage. You're like, all right, yes, success, accomplishment. Fuck, he's got it back. Nope, I have it back. And that just adds to the drama of that engagement. So I hope that helped out a lot.
Other than the fact that you forgot to move the dwarves.
Yeah, there was a few rounds there that we forgot about the entire dwarf line, but
Oh
like,
yeah, there was a round. There was at least one, possibly 2 rounds where the dwarves didn't even get a chance to act.
Yeah,
I do remember that. My bad.
but
Fuck those dwarves.
but
They're cannon
like,
fodder.
there was a lot going on in that fight, and I know, like, by the time you're running into like 8 different things to keep track of, a lot of DMs will just do that thing where they all roll as one, which has its ups and downs, or they there's other like group combat mechanics I've seen, but like,
Well, there's
you
like,
do.
for instance, there's in Rogue Trader, there's the mob rule for having larger engagements. So like the orc fight, the Obfa fight that you guys are in, about to be in, and all that. There's rules for having larger scale of engagements, but also we have figured out how to make these fights somewhat workable with so many individual shooters, let's say, that we've made it work. That I think is perhaps better than using a mob rule. Although the mob rule might have been faster once we figure it out. I totally derailed you, though. Please continue. Sorry.
It's just, you always have to sacrifice something in order to get all those models on the table, and I think just forgetting them for a couple rounds isn't the worst.
Yeah.
Worst thing.
It did not contribute that much to the overall end result of the fight, which was you guys winning.
Yeah.
So that was super helpful.
So.
But also, you guys suddenly flank attack from the rear with missile weapons. That was super helpful, except for the part where Balfric almost died a second time.
I forgot about that. He came so close, my boy.
Darius, any other final thoughts for the stream, for the campaign?
No, not really.
All right, well, my friends, that is it to this game, this campaign, this stream. It's been a hell of a ride. If you recall,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. If you recall, way back when, once upon a time, we started off in a small town that by the end of the night was under attack. Fire arrows dropping out of the sky, people getting shot up. Darius was on fire at one point. And then soaked through and through in order to put the fire out, as I recall. Being chased by our first beastman that took forever to figure out how to make combat work, but we figured it out and we made it.
Yeah.
We wandered the wilds, traveled across the open mountains. We made a friend along the way, who turns out to also be a worshiper of Titan, and eventually found orcs. Even though we were warned about the orcs, we still stumbled into the orcs and got our asses handed to us and lost one of our members of the party, NPC named Roland. But we gained a new ally, new friend, Beofric, but went and hunted down cultists. Killed those cultists surprisingly fast. I was so disappointed. That fight was done and over in just minutes. I fully expected that fight to last the whole session, by the way. Mentioned that a few times now. And it didn't, but we made friends, and we killed cultists, and we went back to town. Got attacked by the main army of Thassamergalad. Found out that Thassamergalad was an evil asshole. But we killed him. Fuck him. Fuck him in his face. It's been a hell of a ride. I thoroughly enjoyed this entire process, and I hope that you guys have as well. And I hope that people continue to watch this story. But that is it for us here tonight. That is it for us here in this game, this world. Until the next time we come back to Erewan, some other game system that I will one day figure out which one is fitting, or just say fuck it and write one. Also consider that several times. That's an awful lot of work. That said, my friends, it is a crazy world out there. To make sure you're doing what you got to do to take care of you and yours. As for me and mine, we are out of here. See you next time. Have a good one.
Next time on Erewan Z.